the Woman Warrior podcast.
Hello,
Again,
hi.
this is our guest for today. Her name is Tatiana Santana, and she is an amazing soul.
Oh my
I
God,
am
thank you.
your host for today, and my name is Nora, and I will continue being the guest. And I will continue being the guest. This is how you know that I'm not used to being on camera yet. I'm like
Uh,
all confused. But I am your host, Nora. This is our guest, Tatiana. And today we're going to be having a really deep conversation about a certain topic. But before we jump into the topic or what we're going to be discussing today, I kind of want to introduce Tatiana. And first things first, I want to say happy birthday.
oh, thank you so much. Really
It's your
appreciate it.
birthday.
I'm
You're
really
allowed to do whatever you
grateful.
want.
Where's the alcohol?
Okay, so hold on. Let me just. Okay. I'm going to let you kind of tell us who you are, Tatiana. And one of the questions I do have for you is um, wait, first, let me let you introduce yourself. You have
Okay,
the mic. Go
all
ahead.
right. Hello, everyone watching. As you know, my name is Tatiana. I just turned 25. Really important time, I think, in a woman's life, like sort of the first stage and cycle of everything that they're about to go through. It sets the stage for the rest of their life. That's what I truly believe in. So, what do I do for a career? I've been in the film industry for 10 years, on and off. I'm a creative. So, if you're a creative, I think you might relate to how I think. um, and I am a Capricorn Aquarius cusp. Not sure if anyone follows horoscopes. I just think they're interesting, and I have my own conspiracy theories with them. I love conspiracy theories, and I find that I really bond with people that also kind of believe in horoscopes, and we just kind of like go off on that, and it's just a fun thing do with them. Um, I don't want to say the subject before we start, but I do want to give a trigger warning before we do start. We are going to talk about domestic abuse, and we are going to talk about toxic relationships. We are going to talk about childhood trauma, and it's going to get pretty intense and deep, and for all of us. And this is a safe space, and hopefully you feel safe with us, and this is to really just connect to other women and even men, if they're listening as well, to know that they're not alone in what they're going through. So that's how I want to approach this. So take it from there, Nora.
Okay, no, I'm glad that you actually said that because I'm a little like nervous when this topic comes because a lot of people get really triggered and they get really defensive and they can go either really good and productive the conversation or the conversation can turn into a very defensive area.
Yes.
I'm happy the conversation is with you though because the other day we actually had like a little test run.
Right,
Not
yeah.
so much a test run, but we were just like, hey, so this is kind of the topic I'm thinking about, and you agreed, and I was like, this is great. We're both on the same page.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, for everyone that saw this handsome man that was right here earlier, that's my fiance. So like he was checking some technical stuff. He's like coming to the rescue. But yeah, that's my fiance Armando. And back to the subject and to the conversation. Um, I'm really happy that you are the guest for today
Oh
regarding
my
this
God.
subject because I feel like you have such powerful things to say and to share with other people, and it's crucial and it's important that we start being able to talk about these kind of things because if we don't, they're going to continue happening, but we're not going to do anything about it because nobody's talking about it. Nobody's taking action and actually stopping it.
Hmm.
You know what I
At
mean?
this level where it's like
At this
open to talk about.
exactly.
Right, yeah.
And one thing that like I cannot stress enough is like this podcast is meant to be a platform where women can connect
Hmm.
and women can feel like they can get growth out of it.
Hmm.
Some A little self-reflection is a good thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes we need a hard hit of self-reflection.
Yes.
But the main purpose for this podcast is simply, it's not for me. It's not so much like, oh, it's me, I'm building it. No, it has nothing to do with me. This podcast is for us, and I think we talked about that the other day as well. Like I told you how I felt and what this means to me.
Hmm.
And this is just what it means to me is a form of unity
Hmm.
for women, for
Yeah.
women to get together and stand up and take action because it's time for women to be able to be the voice and the symbol of action
Right.
because we are we are the ones who pretty much give life. We are
Yeah.
the ones who birth sons. We
Hmm.
are the ones who raise men,
Hmm.
and it's like it's this topic I feel like it's gonna help women kind of reflect like, it is a big responsibility.
Hmm.
It is something we take on. Just we're born with this responsibility.
Hmm.
And it just feels like I want to make this platform a safe place so that we can start feeling powerful within ourselves. We can reclaim our power again.
Right, exactly. Like what you said before when we had talked previously. And I am absolutely 100% with that. I feel like you said, we're born with this burden to nurture, to be caregivers. And that's the role we're given. That's the role we're taught through Disney, through Barbie dolls, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's one thing. Like, I'm not
yeah.
bashing Disney. I love Disney. Like,
I do too.
honestly, I don't know. Like, I remember when we first met, I was like, Princess Tatiana.
Oh, no, there's a
I was
princess named
And I was
Tatiana.
like, you're Princess Tatiana.
Oh, gosh, thank
Um,
you.
but like, I love Disney movies. I love because there's a beautiful message behind it. But the thing I don't like is because, okay, the thing I don't like is that they're very, I feel like they strip away the power in a little girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Like little girls grow up being, I want to be a princess. I want to be Cinderella.
Hmm.
But like, oh, but Cinderella was like, there's negative things to her.
Hmm.
Like like the Little Mermaid,
Hmm.
she gave up her rights to be able to gain something. She gave up her voice
Hmm. Yes, exactly.
for a
Yeah.
man, and it's just
Right.
like that. At a little kid, when I saw that, I was like, I don't think I would ever give up the voice I have,
Right. Yeah.
the ability to sing and do the things I like just
Hmm.
because I like a boy,
Right.
But these are the little messages that some little girls are like, oh, so this is what princesses do.
Right.
If you want to be a princess, you have to submit. You have to listen to like the king and like all this other stuff. I'm just like, nah.
Yes, it sets us up for failure before we even get a hold of who we are. And, you know, it, I mean, we carry a lot. I mean, everybody carries a lot, but I'm going to put us in this space as a woman to reclaim, like what you said, reclaim what we carry, because I think there is power to that.
Hmm.
It,
I do feel like Disney, I give them props that the new princesses have
yeah,
been more like, yes, we can.
yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah, they're
Um,
seeing that happen.
yes,
Yeah.
like for one, it's like Moana.
Oh, hold on one sec. I'm so sorry. Hold
It's
on.
okay, take your
Wait.
time. Take your time. Okay, so while she's
I'm
busy,
working.
um, I do want to make sure that you guys, sorry, I'm not picking my nose, I'm just like scratching.
Okay,
Um,
look. Sorry.
Follow us on Instagram at the Women Warrior Podcast. We will be announcing a lot of great things that are coming. So we hope that you guys are tuning in on Twitch and that you guys are following us on Instagram and Facebook because we are on Facebook too. Um, there is going to be a lot of new stuff coming out through Instagram and Facebook. One of the things that I want to also announce is we're going to be starting to upload everything up on Spotify so that you guys can hear everything on the go. Because I know I'm always on the go, so I feel like this would be great to do for women because we're all working women.
Yeah.
Like some of us, like we just can never stop.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. I'm one of those women that I'm always on the go sometimes. Um, So I want to make sure that you guys get access to it, not just through Twitch, but you have access through it through Spotify as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, welcome back, Tatiana.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's okay. Um, oh yeah, so we were talking about Moana. Like one thing I love about Moana is that it shows her rebellion
Mhm.
against being told how to do things, why you need to do them my way.
Mhm.
And it's like she stood up. She said, "No, I'm gonna I have to do this. I know my calling." And she was brave. There was another one. I think it's called Enchanted, or which one? The one with the princess that has like the curly red hair.
Brave?
Brave, Enchanted. Look at me. Yeah, Brave.
Yeah.
That one, I remember that movie. I watched it with my mom,
Mhm.
and my mom's like, "That's you. She has the curly hair and everything." And I was like, I felt like, oh, how could you? But I was like, no, I can kind of relate,
I love her. I don't remember
yeah.
her name, but she
Yeah, but
was
I was
really
like, when my
cool.
mom told me that, I was offended. I was like, how
Oh.
dare you? What do you mean? But then I was like, you know what? I love that movie. I like it. It was a beautiful message. And honestly, it's like, I feel that movie talks more between a mother and daughter bond.
Mhm.
And I feel like moms sometimes they get misunderstood by their daughters. And I feel daughters can get misunderstood by their moms. And
Mhm.
it talks about like breaking that barrier.
Mhm.
So I thought that was beautiful and cool. And I was like, at first I was like, ah, but then I was like, oh, it's like once you understand, it's like, oh, okay, I accept.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's my take on Disney. Like, I love Disney, but I love it more now with the new stuff they're putting out. But even as a little kid, I always loved it. But it did make me think, like, how come the princess can't do this because she's a girl?
Right.
It's like, I'm a girl and I'm gonna do it. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You
does
want
this
to
mean I'm
challenge
not
it.
a princess? Like those are the little things that little girls ask themselves. Because I know I ask myself that.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing, like, okay. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh no, it's okay. I completely agree. Like these little what's it called, subconscious subliminal messaging that, it's just from traditional roles. It stems from like cultures. It stems from like different religions that teach us that we're the caregivers and stuff. And that's what we come into the world with. And so, it sets us up for failure prematurely as a child. Um, and again, what you said about like reclaiming your power, I think to reclaim our power, it also means that we need to become aware and mindful of the messages that we're telling ourselves and watching, because um, I'm sure, I mean, a lot. I'm 25, and half of the people I know have kids now, which is like really weird now, and we're given the opportunity now, if we do decide to have kids, to teach them a new way of reclaiming really who they are versus what media tells us, what stories tells us, what religion tells us, what everything tells us. Because your identity, I feel, is constantly always questioned when you grow up. What do I want to do with my life? What are my dreams? Where am I headed? And you build it upon what you think is good for you. And when what you think is good for you is get married, have a family, da da da, be the perfect wife, be this, be a trophy, be that, like it it really kind of like strips away any freedom you could have potentially had, you know. So that's
I
like kind
agree.
of what I wanted to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard too because I feel like when it comes down to it, like I don't think that people are aware that they're leading up to something that's gonna affect the way we think when we're older. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm the type of person that definitely like thinks of the future, and it's really hard for me to stay in the present sometimes. But I do like understand like for sure people aren't constantly like thinking, oh, what if this affects my future? Oh, what if this leads into this? But it is important to be mindful of any patterns or behaviors that you've conditioned yourself to believe.
Mhm.
Basically, anything that you tell yourself to believe, you will live it. That is basically the object of manifestation.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's laws of attraction. That's why it's so powerful. That's why when we learn about like self-love and meditation and all these things, this is what they mean. Words are very powerful. Things we listen to, things we tell ourselves, and the things that we tell other people, we really do subconsciously shape our life path. And I have a stack of books here that I didn't write, but one of them for sure, it talks about that, and it's called The Four Agreements. Let me see if I can just look it under here. And it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's a spiritual book, but it's still practical. So it's in between the fine lines of being able to understand, like, if you're a spiritual person, you'll understand what they mean in that language. And then if you're a practical person, you'll also understand like therapeutic or psychologically in that language as well. And basically, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not gonna sneeze. Okay. um, Let me see if I can find. So the first agreement, and it's crazy because all of these are about like words. The first agreement is be impeccable with your words, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Whenever we say something or something, um, we really truly shape our path with that. So make sure every word you say, it has a meaning, you know. And that's just becoming mindfulness. That's becoming aware of everything. Um, and then the second agreement is don't take anything personally. I think we all kind of struggle with that, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah. And then the third agreement is don't make assumptions. And then the fourth agreement is always do your best. And I would love to go in detail, but we have a lot to talk about. But this is a fantastic book.
That is a fantastic book, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you like made it clear. Like, it is a spiritual book, but it's also very practical.
Hmm.
And I feel like spirituality is practical. You know, it's not as like complicated as a religion is.
Yeah.
Spirituality is more of like like yourself. Like, what do you want? How do you want to heal your spirit on a regular basis? Your spirituality is more of like your commitment to feeding your soul and your spirit.
Right.
That you don't feel drained, you don't feel used, you don't feel like something's missing because you're feeding that side of yourself.
Yeah.
You're balancing yourself, you know?
Exactly.
Um,
Balance, so important. So important.
it is. One thing you did mention though, it was about the rules. What did we call them? The rules or the agreements? The agreements?
Yeah.
I think one of them was the power of the word. The first one.
Uh,
Um,
be, be impeccable with your words.
be impeccable with your words.
Yeah.
I feel like as a woman, sometimes we forget that our words are just as powerful,
Yes.
you know? And like going back to the topic of like domestic abuse and like all this ugly stuff that can happen behind closed doors, like not only are we powerful with our words in our part, but the words that are being told to us as
Yes.
women, you
Yes.
know? And I say us because if it happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. You
Yeah.
know, like if it's affecting your sister, it's affecting you.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It can happen to anyone, and to
yeah,
not be ashamed of that, you know?
yeah, that's true. That is
Yeah.
very true. So the one thing I was gonna ask you, and I want the audience to be fully aware, why do you personally feel like it's important that we talk about this?
Well, I mean, when I'm still healing. I don't think I ever stopped healing because when you go through such traumatic events, it leads to a lot of unfolding in your life that led up even before that, you know? So, I realized that yes, there's therapy and I've gone to therapy, and yes, there's support groups and I've gone to support groups, but it didn't help the fact that I felt so ashamed to talk about it. And, before that I was in that situation, ideally, naively, I thought, why would I ever feel ashamed of what happened to me? You know what I mean? And but when you go through that, there are things with trauma that make you shut down. And it could be built from childhood experience all the way up to that. And it makes you feel invalidated. And anybody who had invalidated you in the relationship, even before that, your parents, friendships, people you really trusted, you start to invalidate your own experience. You start to say, I don't deserve to to really take ownership of what happened to me. And as crazy as that sounds, it's really how I felt. I really felt like what happened to me wasn't terrible. And I really had to like literally say to myself out loud and write it multiple times like what happened to me, because I was pushing it back. I was suppressing it. And that's what you do with trauma and flashbacks. You suppress what happens to you because you don't want to register what's going on. And when you finally are able to sit with it and register it and say it out loud, then you can claim that yes, I am a victim of domestic abuse as evidence of me being strangled. And once you start to say those words out loud, that this is what you've gone through, you can finally say, I'm a survivor. Because you can't say you're a survivor without saying you've been a victim. And that's why I think it's so important to be able to talk about things like this loudly and have a podcast about this, which I thank you for, because this is so important, and know that like, oh my God, like they like if I was watching this before, I was watching me, but it wasn't me, and I saw this person talking about it, then I would know the steps it would take for me to heal and what direction it would take me if I were to want to get out of this relationship. It would give me like almost perspective of the future and choices and freedom. That's what it gives us. Being able to talk aloud gives us freedom to choose.
Yes, and I also feel like part of the healing process is talking about it.
Right.
Because abuse comes in many shapes and forms. It's not
Yeah.
just domestic. Like I shared with you my story of being bullied when I was in fifth grade.
Yeah.
I got jumped by a little fat boy and these two little mean girls. And just because they decided that they were going to be little assholes, like it was just a rough time. Like I remember, like I told you about Miss Howard, the coward. Like
Yeah.
this
That's a
lady was
great name.
evil. Like she would walk around with her cane in the playground area, and she would like purposely, like you could tell how evil she was. Like she would purposely trip kids and blame them for running.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow. Like it came to a point that like the entire class was a nightmare for me. Fifth grade was the worst year of my life when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I was going through my own difficulties at home,
Hmm.
and then to go to school and still have to endure more difficulties as a kid
Yeah.
with an entire class. Like I remember there was a day where we were all doing our work. I think I told you this story. We were all in the classroom doing our work, and the lady, this Miss Evilness over here, the teacher, decided that she needed to use the restroom. And I was like, oh, okay. She's going to the bathroom, and she's like, everybody stay in your seats. And like this lady would yell, like you could hear her from 3 classrooms down. That's how intense her rage was. And I was just like, oh my God, all right, lady. Like, cool. Um, she went to the bathroom. She had told the other teacher, like, hey, watch them, you know? And then I remember, like, my pencil broke. I'm like, oh, I have to sharpen my pencil. So I went and I sharpened my pencil. And then I went back. When I got back to my seat, all my things were missing. You know, like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Just wait till she comes back and then get yelled at because I'm not doing my work?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was terrified of this lady. Like, she would literally get in my face, like 2 inches away, and like yell at me.
That's
Like,
not
yell
right.
at me as if I was a grown woman and we were about to get down,
Right.
you know? And it's like, I tried telling people, nobody would believe me. The
Yeah.
entire class would deny it because they would bully me, and it was in their best interest to go along with the nonsense.
Hmm.
So it's just like, whatever. I told the other teacher, hey, they took my stuff. She was very nice. I loved her to death. She was one of the nicest teachers. She was like right next to our classroom. So she was a lady that she was the teacher that was in charge of watching us. So I told her, she got upset and she's like, give her back her things. And she was upset with the entire class because she felt like it's not fair that these kids are being bullies. So
Right.
she ended up telling the teacher, my teacher, that the kids were bullying me. And then the teacher, she was like, Miss whatever, Miss Evilness. We'll call her Miss Evilness because that's what she was.
Right.
She was all polite. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you telling me. Thank you, thank you. The moment she closed the door, she turned around, marched straight up to me, yelled in my face, telling me why the hell did I get out of my seat? And that I was going to get a note home for not following instructions. And I was just like, what did I do wrong? I'm a little kid. My pencil broke. I'm trying to do my work. I needed to sharpen my pencil, you know? And this lady was just mean. If you weren't working, she would yell at you and be mean to you. So I was like, I don't want to be yelled at. I'm a little kid. No kid wants to be yelled at, you know?
Right.
So I was like, okay. I remember crying and feeling like crap every day.
Yeah.
And then these little kids, like the day that I got jumped, it was just like I was crying because I didn't understand why did this fat little boy and his two little ugly friends find the need that they had to go to the extreme to jump me when all I ever did was avoid everyone in my classroom. I would literally hide where the steps were and just sit there and chill, read a book, or just hang out by myself. And they would look for me and they would instigate and they would poke fun. And they're like, why are you here by yourself? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, I just want to be left alone. I'm
Yeah.
not bothering you. Please don't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you. You're mean. Like I was a very like just leave me alone. Since I was little, if you were mean to me, I avoided you. I didn't want to talk to you because I wasn't mean. I wasn't raised to be mean.
Right.
You
That's
know,
not
and
you.
then that
Yeah.
day where I got jumped, I told my parents, I told my dad, he picked me up, and I was crying. He's like, why are you crying? And I was like, these kids jumped me. And my dad got so mad that he had tears in his eyes.
Oh no.
And then he's like, who did it? And I was like, that was one of the boys. And he's
Hmm.
like, it was a boy? Like a boy beat up my daughter? Like, we're in fifth grade. Think about this. A boy beat up a little girl. A little boy beating up a little girl for
Yeah.
no reason, just because he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, to this day, I think, I wonder what kind of a man this little boy grew up to be if he was beating up girls from a little young age.
Yeah.
Like, what was he witnessing at home that he thought it was funny and okay for him to jump me?
Exactly.
And for
Yeah.
these girls to think it's okay for a boy to be jumping a girl, it's like, what were these little girls experiencing at home that made
Right.
them think it's okay? You
And
know?
it doesn't help that, the teacher was also doing that to you as well.
Yeah, and it was a complete nightmare. Like, it was a complete nightmare. I was like, and the reason why I bring it up is because we're talking about domestic abuse, and it's like, it starts at a young age. You
Yeah.
pick it up at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a little boy and a little girl, two little girls.
Yeah.
You know, it was three against one, and we're like not even 10 years old,
Right.
you know? So it's like, just think about that. Like, how many kids are being bullied because they're picking up bad habits from home
Yeah.
and they
And
think it's normal, it's okay, it's acceptable. And no,
exactly.
it's not. Like, I remember that same day, like, my dad was sewing, he's like, hey, you ever touch my little girl again? I'm gonna come with the cops and arrest you, handcuff you, and your parents.
Right.
This little boy went and told the teacher that my dad threatened him. This lady started yelling at me and was like, you're in trouble. I got in trouble for getting jumped, and I got in trouble for telling an adult that I got jumped.
Hmm.
you know, and it came to the point this lady was just so crazy and evil. She decided that because I was standing up for myself and I started like telling them to leave me the F alone,
Mm-hmm.
I was using bad words, I'm in trouble. And nothing would ever happen to those kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it still frustrates me. I'm still angry about it because it's just like how many kids have committed suicide because they're getting bullied?
Right. Yeah.
Because they have teachers like that that think it's okay to just like be mean to one kid and allow the rest of the class to just get away with it.
Right. And you're a kid, you know, you're I feel like when we're kids, we still don't have the perspective and the life experience to really understand this person is troubled and it's not about me, it's about them. But at the same time, we're really put in this vulnerable position where we can't even like defend ourselves. You were grouped up on and you tried your best to defend yourself and I applaud you for that. And your feelings right now about that situation, they are still valid to this day, you
Yeah,
know?
I agree. They are because it's like the thing that frustrates me is like, yeah, it happened. I grew, and I feel like part of it is the reason what taught me to not be an abusive human
Yeah.
to others.
Yeah.
Because I know what abuse looks like. And it's just like, it's very unfair to the victim,
Yeah.
especially if the victim doesn't even know why you're being abusive,
Right.
you know? And this goes, let's like, this brings us back to domestic abuse. Like, as a woman, like, if you're with someone and this person is abusive to you and you're always wondering, like, what did I do wrong? Like, why is he like this? You know?
Mhm.
And it's like, it's not fair. Like you're stuck. You're left in a moment of what did I do wrong?
Right.
You know, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up is like you didn't do anything wrong. This person has issues. If he has to get to the point where he's abusing you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or in all ways and forms, it's not you, it's
Hmm.
him. He
Hmm.
has an issue. And this goes vice versa too, because there's some evil women out there
Yeah.
who are abusive and they need
Yeah.
to like literally cut the shit and admit and acknowledge like, hey, you're a piece of shit person too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like you're
Everyone's not perfect. Yeah.
nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
but there's some women who are the abusers, you
Yeah.
know, and these are the women that will always make themselves the victim. I'm
Hmm.
not shaming women. I'm just saying, hey, let's be fair.
Hmm.
Let's acknowledge that this goes both ways.
Hmm.
It's not just women who are, and we need to call it out for what it is. Domestic abuse is from both ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the woman who's being abused, sometimes it's the man who's being abused.
Yeah.
And if it's the man that's being abused, there needs to be punishment for that. There needs to be a repercussion, you know, and the same for women.
All right.
I
And
feel,
oh, sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, and as we're talking about, you know, domestic abuse and yes, I do believe that people who because okay, it's very complicated situation because as I've healed from what's happened to myself personally, I wanted to understand, you know, the whys on both sides. I wanted to understand why I was led into this path and taught this, you know, and to believe that I deserve this and to accept that, and then I was wanted to understand, well, why did my significant other at the time, why did he think it's okay to do that? You know, I really wanted to understand the why. And I think that's where we always get stuck at when we're kind of in a vulnerable situation. We just want to understand, why is this happening to me? So when I was healed and I took the time to really understand myself, I got into um, basically the psychology of um, codependency in relationships and how it can go into like toxic relationships and even violent relationships. So there's narcissistic and there's codependent behavior, caretaking behavior pretty much. And it's on a scale. like a lot of people are in the middle. Some people are more narcissistic. They take. They blame. And some people are on the caretaking side. They want to care for you. They want to nurture you. But at the same time, they feel like they give so much, they have nothing to give. And usually, the super narcissistic and the super caretaking, for some reason, they just go together and it makes a horrible match, you know? and and it's an actual like thing, it's an actual science that these two usually are together, you know. And it always, you know, if again, relationships, yes, you're having a relationship with one person, but what I've learned from being married and from dating is really when you're when you're in a relationship with another person, you're really just magnifying the relationship with yourself. And if you're not okay with yourself, how do you think the behaviors that you choose to do with yourself and with other people, how do you think those behaviors are also going to be with your significant other? You're going to treat them the same way. And how do you think that they're going to feel if you haven't learned to balance yourself in between those levers? You know, it's a constant battle, and that's what makes relationships so hard. When we don't recognize those things and have that mindfulness of that. And I think it's so important to teach that to people now, because we get into relationships because of our ideas of love, because again of we popped out of our mom and we're given all these subliminal messages of I got to be the caretaker, or you know, I got to take because you know my mom was like cheated on and she told me not to trust men, so now I can't trust men, I got to take, you know, like
Yes, and
exactly.
and right now that you say that, I feel like that is very true.
Right.
Like little girls that grow up in a broken home or
Yeah.
a home where it's dysfunctional or there's a divorce,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the times, like parents tend to, like, all the hurt they cause each other tends to rub off on their kids.
Yeah.
The trauma of it is severe. Like
Yeah.
severe to the point that it stays with those little girls, those little boys
Hmm.
for the rest of their lives. The way they view relationships, the way they view love, the way they view women or men, like it changes them. It affects
It
them
does.
because it's kind of like, well, if my dad cheated on my mom,
Right.
I don't have to be loyal to any woman.
Right.
If my dad did it, I could do it too.
Right. Yeah,
If
you're taught
my
those things.
mom had a Sancho behind my dad's back, if she did it, I could do it too. You
Yeah.
know, and it's like little things like that. It's like it's very impactful for children,
Right.
more than we can even start to discuss or go into, you know?
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone because some kids are just like, you know what? My dad hurt my mom. I never want to do that. I never want to be that man.
And you know the crazy thing, the even more crazy thing, that balance of scale and scales with the caretaking and the narcissistic. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Here, let me drink some water for you.
Let's drink some water because we're getting into this. I'm like turning pink too because I'm so like empowering this conversation. The crazy thing is, our parents treat our relationship in those same means. They can be super too caretaking and they can be super narcissistic. So this doesn't only apply to relationships, this applies to every kind of ship.
Hmm.
And so, like, you know, they say the brain stops, your frontal cortex stops developing at 25. Thank God I'm 25 now. You know,
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like I really almost got it down. But like we're able to kind of like see things now objectively instead of so emotionally and be affected by them. And we have enough sort of life experience to kind of be like, oh, okay, this is happening. And I think like with our parents, like right now, I'm in the beginnings of analyzing my parents for who they really are, you know?
Yes. And you know, I'm glad that you say that because it's like I went through that process. I
Yeah.
think I started that process maybe I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. I was like 26, around
Hmm.
that same age, where it was just like I had to take a moment, step back, and just be like, why is my dad the way he is? Why is my mom the way she
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
What triggers them to think that they have to be a certain way?
Right.
Or what caused them to be a certain way?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and I felt like the moment I started doing that, I was able to understand them more. I was able to forgive.
Yes.
Since like my parents were separated at one point.
Yeah.
And that was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for my sister. It was very difficult for my brother. And but we overcame it, and we pretty much like powered through it, because there was a point where my parents were just
Mhm.
working. They were preoccupied in paying bills and making sure there was money in the account so
Right.
that we could do family stuff. And then by the time we did the family stuff, everyone was just stressed out and tired. So it was
Oh,
just like a whole fiasco. Like, but that's family. Like, there's a lot of stuff that families go through, and it
yeah.
sucks that we say, "Oh, that's family," but it
Yeah.
actually is. Like no
Yeah.
family is perfect. I love
Yeah.
my
No.
family. I had an amazing childhood. Honestly, I cannot say I didn't. I had an amazing childhood. My dad and my mom provided, to the point that I remember we had a Christmas, like every kid's dream, like the big Christmas tree, all the presents, and like I remember getting a bunch of dolls. I was a Barbie girl. And I was just like so stoked. You see me, and like I have pictures where I'm holding all my presents in my arms, and I'm just like, they're mine.
Oh, that's so
But it's
cute.
like, these are the things that parents work so hard to give their children, that joy,
Yeah.
and it's like, even though I feel parents need to be given a little more credit than they do, because sometimes you don't know the struggle a parent is going through in silent, just
Right.
to make the kid's life better than it was for them when they were kids.
Yes. Yeah. And again, like, yes, exactly what you were saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like it took me a while to also start analyzing my parents and kind of retracting, like, oh, I understand my parents better now.
Yeah. It takes a while. It's not fast.
Yeah.
It definitely takes a while because,
Yes,
like,
I remember when I was having trouble understanding my parents. I have my aunt. She's like my second mom, my aunt Corey.
yeah.
And every time I have a difficulty with my parents, and I'm just like, I don't want to argue or fight with my parents. Like, I don't want this
Right.
misunderstanding. I don't want my whole life to be like this, where I feel like we're bumping heads. And again, like, this is me talking about when I was a teenager, young adult. Like, we all go through that stage where we feel like they don't know anything.
Yes, yes.
And I would just be like, yeah. I'm so mad. To this day, I think I still do this to her. And she's just so patient with me. And she kind of tells me, like, hey, like, just give her space, give
Yeah.
him time.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're still your parents. And you have to respect them. And you have to love them in the sense that you love yourself. And because you love yourself, you honor
Yes.
your parents.
Right. Yeah.
And if they are much, then you need to distance yourself.
Yeah.
If you feel you're doing everything in your power and they're not changing, but you are, then it's time for you to step back and let them continue in their cycle.
That's
Because people
amazing.
get trapped in cycles. They
Yes.
get trapped in a cycle of like a mental cycle. Well, I am this way. I am not going to change.
Right.
I was
Again,
born this
impeccable with
way.
your
I live
words.
this way. I'm gonna die this way. The
Yeah.
3 points, like West Side, let's go.
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
and it's true. Like there comes a point where you do have to step back, and you do have to realize, I don't have to be in this situation.
Yeah.
I can step back and let this person continue his or her cycle,
Mhm.
regardless if it's your parents, your partner,
Mhm.
and start living for you.
Yeah.
Start living where you feel peace within yourself, that you're doing what's right for you.
Right.
And eventually everything else will line up, because eventually people are going to acknowledge, hey, you're happier.
Right.
You look happier. You look better. You
Yeah.
look like you're at peace.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to know, so what are you doing?
Yeah, literally what we're talking about is that process. And it is learning that. And it's crazy that your mid 20s you're learning to like love yourself and acknowledge yourself and learn to give yourself space and other people space. It really does take that long to learn. And I'm still learning personally really about all of this, you know.
Yeah, and it is a process. Like let's go back to relationship wise. Like I
Yeah.
feel everyone has had that one relationship where you felt used,
Yes.
where you felt like you were robbed of something that you can't get back anymore,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that part though, when you're in that relationship, is very hard to step back and walk away from it just because you don't believe you can.
Mhm.
You don't
Oh,
believe you can. You don't know how. You think you're trapped. You think you have nowhere to go. You think like, oh well, he loves me. Like who else is gonna love me? like, like a
yeah,
lot of
looking
women go
back
through
at that
that.
thought, yeah, yeah.
And
That
like, and
actually
it sucks because
touches
it's like
the,
a
I'm
woman.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
That actually touches upon the first bullet point of my
But
notes.
yeah, mhm.
The
And it does,
uncertainty and fear.
and it's okay. And that's the thing. And I do like I love the fact that you sent me your notes because I love how you organize it.
Oh, thank you.
Because there's a valid thing, like the fears and the uncertainties that become the monster, you
Oh my
know?
God.
That's
Yeah.
and that is true. Those do
Yes.
become monsters. And then when you're in that relationship, you have to start asking yourself, what is my monster? Like why am I afraid?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? And it's like for it to get to that point, there's a bunch of little red flags, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we're not aware until it happens.
Oh my
And
God. Yes.
then after it happens, we're just left there like, did I just become a victim?
Yeah, because we're living in
Like,
this fantasy that we put ourselves in, like you said, like, oh, I love him, this and this, and he's Prince Charming, and then
mosquito.
oh, oh yeah, they've come back.
I know.
It's
I'm just
awful.
like, get away. You're all fighting.
It's
I should
time
just
to bring out
protect you.
off and deer. I'm terrified. I shouldn't even be wearing this. Oh, I'm scared.
No, it's over here. You're good. It's okay.
It's gonna go through the screen. That's how sneaky they are.
No, that would be terrifying. I would be like, run, girl.
Right.
Just like no mosquito. This is an omen.
It's the end of the world. The plague, mosquitoes, not even grasshoppers.
Like, oh my God, we got the Rona, we got the politics, we got mosquitoes.
Oh, there's too
Like,
much
when
going
will it
on.
end? But yeah. But yeah, we were talking about the like the red flags.
Yes,
It
feeding.
sucks. Like you don't realize it's a red flag
Yeah,
until after it happens.
yeah, yeah.
And then after it happens, I feel a lot of women are like, he won't do it again, or she won't do it again. This
Right.
won't happen again. It was a
Yeah,
one-time thing,
yeah,
and then it happens again, and it keeps happening. But you have that hope. You have that you're holding on to that hope that this person is going to change for the better,
hmm
and they're not going to do it. There's going to come a day where they're just going to be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, and mean it.
yeah.
But a lot of times,
Really got the tone down there too. It's perfect. You're like,
I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But it's true. Like, it just sucks that you have to live it and experience it to be aware, like, oh crap, this is a red flag,
Right,
but that's part of the process as well,
right. And a
you
red
know?
flag isn't just they did it one time. Here's the thing. If they are this is let's list down red flags, okay? Because I feel like in discovering ourselves, we have to discover what makes us feel uncomfortable, what makes us feel unsafe. And I feel like that varies from person to person. That's why when someone says, "Oh, this is a red flag for me," another person be like, "That's not a red flag for me. What are you talking about?" But I mean, really, I think it's important to really kind of just like say, like, this is probably a really big red flag. Firstly, of course, any aggression or violence, either directly to you or indirectly, they could be hitting a wall. That is
A red
actual
flag.
abuse. That's
That is
abuse.
a huge red flag.
It's a huge red flag. If
Like,
they're hitting a
excuse
wall, they're
me,
going to hit you.
that's my wall.
Yeah, exactly.
It has feelings.
Yeah. And, I understand that people get angry, they get mad, but here's the thing. That person is responsible for knowing how to deal and channel that anger into healthy anger. They can go to the gym and punch a bag, or they can, meditate it out, or they can like do something that's positive and productive instead of making the other person in their life feel unsafe.
Yes, and
When you
also I
Yeah.
feel like when things start getting physical, whether it's not towards you, but it's a physical motion, like you're punching a wall in front of me because
Right.
I upset you.
Right.
What are you
Or
trying to tell me? Is that
or
you
throwing a
telling me
chair.
if I keep upsetting you, that wall's gonna be me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and these are the red flags. Like even if it's not a wall, like even if it's something like emotional abuse, where he or she says something that it just makes you feel like, oh my God, why would he say that? Like, am I not? Like, does he? Doesn't he? Does she? Doesn't she?
Yeah, like a direct attack upon you or your character, or picking on like your flaws or things you feel insecure about to basically make you feel smaller. If
Yeah.
they make you feel smaller, that's a red flag. And here is the thing about red flags. Once you start to feel very uncomfortable in your stomach to the point where you feel in one point in your life like it makes you feel like when you were back in school and people were bullying you and you feel that not again, you already have the right to be like, this is not for me, and I can step out at any time. I can step out now. They don't even have to be doing something completely obvious for you to say, no, I don't deserve this. You have the right to step out whenever you feel not safe. Because here's the thing, when you're looking for a relationship, what are you looking for? You're looking to feel safe, you're looking to feel supported, you're looking to feel whatever, you know, what you define as love for yourself. You're looking for those things. If they breach any one of those things, that's a red flag for you. Simple as that, honestly. Yeah.
I agree. I really
Yeah.
agree. And okay, now that you said that, I do want to ask you, like, what were some of the ways where you realized from your own experiences that you needed to start correcting the learned behavior and patterns from dealing with toxic situations with people or with partners?
So, like my own learned behaviors, or like, wait, say that again?
Like, okay, what were some of the things that you started to do to kind of confront these situations and for you to start correcting the learned behavior and patterns from dealing with these toxic situations?
Okay, so definitely, the main thing that really helped me deal with these things is firstly learning to acknowledge and identify what's going on. When we believe in a fantasy that this person is completely right for us, we fall in that hole so deep. But when you're able to keep track and acknowledge, we started from here, now we're over here, now I'm this way, then you understand, what is happening instead of you still relying on this idea. So I always wrote, I always journaled, I always typed, I always did a video, I always recorded myself, my feelings. And it started out as a slow process. It wasn't like I'm going to start doing this every day whenever I feel good, bad, happy, sad. It was just something that helped me listen to myself. And that is the most like, oh my God, it is the most important thing in life to listen to yourself. And this is what I mean by being impeccable with your words. When you start becoming aware of your feelings, of your emotions, to the point. There's like levels to this. Like level 1 is acknowledging what's going on and identifying. Level 2 is learning how to differentiate actual emotions. Like right now, I'm learning how to differentiate anger and hate and how those feel similar, but they're completely different. And how you would approach them would be completely different. And so, I mean, getting back, it was definitely like knowing, like just journaling and writing down my feelings, how I felt a certain way. Because when I went back into the situation and I tried to compromise with this person or discuss what's going on without my feelings getting in the way, without me getting angry or him getting angry, things happen. They start to misunderstand what you really meant to say, or blame gets tossed around. And then you get lost and you have no idea why you went into that. And then you come out with a whole different idea, a whole different belief. You have no idea what your emotions are. That's why it was so important for me to really track down. On Monday, I felt unheard. Now on Wednesday, oh, he loves me. On Friday, man, he threw the chair. Does he really love me? Like you just see this going up and down, up and down, up and down. Even with friendships, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I think definitely like tracking down my feelings, my emotions, and then, I'm sorry, repeat the question once again before I get lost.
Okay. You're like, I have so much to say. I'm
I
lost
really
already.
do.
Okay. What? Hold on. Let me rethink the question. I'll separate it into as like maybe two questions. Okay. When did you start correcting learned behavior? Or what helped you start correcting the learned behavior and patterns from dealing with toxic situations or people?
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so yes, acknowledge and then, definitely identify what's happening that's becoming a pattern, that's becoming inconsistent. This is what I mean by I'm practical. I look at these things logically. I mean, we have to. We have to look at things objectively because if we look at things emotionally, we get too caught up in it. We follow our heart instead of our brain and what's telling us what's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so once we separate, fight or flight mode, which really happens, then you go into like okay, I'm able to now express what I really feel instead of saying I blame you for this. You learn to communicate it better, and I learned how to do that through a lot of books and stuff when I was dealing with trying to fix my marriage. And instead of saying you made me feel this way, I was like, I felt sad because objectively this happened and da 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 da, and it made me feel unsafe, and that made me feel smaller. um, and then that kind of approach slowly into that kind of conversation, then you're able to kind of stay safe and be objective, and you stated your truth, what really your emotions are, which is very important, and you're able to analyze what they say. And are they going for an attack? Are they going to stay open and listened and learning? Like was it one or the other? What are they going to choose? And that allows you to decide for yourself, well, I stated my truth, and that's definitely not changing. And it seems like you're not going to compromise. So I think really logically, the option would be now I need to decide, I've done my part. Should I step away? And that's how I really learned how to like deal with like toxic people, is to stick to my truth and stick to what I know. I think compromising is great, but here's the thing, you shouldn't compromise yourself in your truth. This is what they mean by like know your truth. This is what they mean by know your feelings are valid, you know. And I think I said this when we talked before, you know, I I know my feelings are valid and I can also be wrong about my behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, we're like I said, we're not perfect, but this definitely like understanding your feelings will lead you to correcting your behavior, because you'll start to objectively look at things and how you handled the situation and how you can handle it better the next time. Because when you're not like thinking with your brain and you're thinking with your heart, you only fall on behavior you were learned like as a kid or through like really toxic situations. Like one of my toxicities is I like to control situations. Sometimes I control a little too much and I need to step back. It's because I have a fear of not being in control. And so like, yes, I feel this way, but my behavior was wrong because I was trying to control the situation, you know?
Taking ownership
Yes.
and acknowledging, hey, I didn't help the situation.
Right.
It's also a step for you to heal and to find healing for your partner or the
Right.
person involved.
Right.
Because a lot of times, like, you can change. You can change together for the better if
Yeah.
you're both willing to do it, if you're both willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
But if it's just one sided, you're not obligated to continue and fight for it when the other person isn't showing any effort.
Absolutely.
So, with that, like, I feel, what message would you give? What message would you give? I'm sorry, I'm having my allergies.
Oh my God, same.
Allergies.
Like,
Uh,
should I have put this flower here?
it's the flowers.
Yeah. It's the mosquitoes and the flowers.
Okay. What is the message that you would give to a woman that is trapped in a relationship or a situation where she feels like it's a domestic and abusive relationship, that it's gotten to that point and she just doesn't see a way out? What advice do you have for that woman that is currently trapped in a domestic and just a horrible situation within her relationship?
Well, I mean, firstly, I think when I was there, I really wanted to be listened to. Like I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad, and yes, I felt trapped. And the thing was, I believed I was trapped, so I stayed there, you know. And fear is a very powerful, powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. And so I think the advice that I would give is, firstly, you want to reclaim your power, and that means you want to be listened. You want to be validated. You don't want to be told you're crazy. You don't want to be told that this is all in your head. You don't want to be told that anything is your fault. You just want to leave and get out of it, okay? And I feel like the first step is like find someone you trust, someone in a secure, safe place to slowly start venting out every false belief that was put in your head. Because that's where your power was taken. That's where your control of your life was taken. When you started to believe these false beliefs about yourself, that you are small, that you are worthless, that you're not beautiful, that, all these terrible, terrible things that you came into this relationship with that didn't exist and now they're there, you know. And that's what it is. That's like how you become so, you know, powerless and believe in the fear that you're trapped. And then another benefit to having someone as a safe place to talk to um, is they help you believe in yourself, and not only that, they can help you like slowly get out of it. I could not get out of the situation I was in without any help. Okay, I needed to talk to someone. Yes, I can figure out and get money and escape, or yes, I can do all these things logistically, but mentally I was stuck. Mentally I was afraid. Mentally I was thinking like, if I do this, my whole world falls apart. So firstly, you need to get yourself out of that mindset and understand that no, you are not trapped. You were just fed to believe that.
That's very powerful and that's very true.
Yeah. And yes, track your feelings, because again, with gaslighting, with manipulation, with feeling small, Any type of power you gain back can be easily squished. So this is why it's so freaking hard to build again who you are, because you just feel like the whole like everything is so heavy, and it could squish you at any time. So it's a great reminder and affirmation to let you know that yes, you are beautiful. No, you are not small. Yes, you can do this. Yes, you can get out. And having another person tell you those things, and having them actually, if they want to, help you, because you're not alone. That's the thing too. You feel so isolated and alone, and that is another big like effect of it.
Yeah, and I like that you say like you want to be heard, you want help, you need help. A lot of the times we need to talk about it because we don't believe it ourselves that it's happening, and we want someone to tell and hear us out so they could tell us you're not in the wrong for feeling like you need to get out.
Right.
You just need help. You need help understanding that it's okay to want to get out.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about it, and that it's going to be okay, and you just need help getting out. And sometimes there's a lot of women who don't have someone to turn to,
Yeah.
and with that said, like I have attached the National Domestic Abuse Hotline to our podcast right now because I feel if there is someone watching this right now, I want you to know you're not alone. You're always going to be backed up with an army of women who will be your voice whenever you feel like you don't have the strength to voice your concerns and opinions. And the reason why, the reason why I feel that it's important that we had this conversation is because I know being in quarantine right now, there's a lot of women trapped with their abusers.
Yeah.
A lot of women are suffering in silence and they have no one to talk to, they have no one to turn to. They're isolated and all they have is either their phones, their social media, like their memes. And it's like, I don't blame them, but it's like, I hope that if you do come across this and that you are struggling, you are suffering, that this conversation was helpful, that it empowered you, that it gave you the strength to reflect and analyze that you deserve better, not just you, but so does your partner, you
And
know?
really believe that you deserve better. Really believe it. And also, I mean, there's also Reddit. There's amazing subreddits for women who are facing domestic violence. Just type up domestic violence Reddit or women's support, you know. And like again, these things are free. You can like connect with groups of women who will literally send you money, whatever you need. Because here's the
What was
thing.
that called again?
Oh, I don't know the exact subreddit, but like if you look up like domestic like r slash domestic violence Reddit, I'm sure there's gonna be like a bunch of like different links to different subreddits where you can connect with different people on the forum and ask, for help. Because sometimes, I'm sure these hotlines are super busy right now. And sometimes we're not able to reach someone and we need someone, immediately and we don't have the money for it. And this forum is great because you're really not alone and you get to at least be heard, and other women are experiencing the same thing. Or there are women who have been survivors, or there's women who are working in, institutions where they help other women and they can help you. There's always a way. You just have to like have the momentum and the drive to want to get out and know that you deserve to get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That is very true. So what I'm gonna do is actually I Googled it, the Reddit that you're talking about. I wasn't even aware of that. So thank you for sharing. I am gonna screen share it. So here we go. We're screen sharing. I Googled it. As you can see up here, it says Reddit domestic violence. That's what I typed in, and this is what popped out. And you're right, it does talk about like domestic violence support, domestic violence Reddit, and then like I clicked on one of them, like, and it pretty much takes you to a chat room, call or chat. Got it. Like you can call them, you could chat with someone. So I am actually going to put it up on our podcast right
Hmm.
now. Um, this is pretty much an outlet or a place where you can get help, you know? So um, I feel it's a beautiful thing. Like this link at the bottom of our podcast right now, I just put it up there. That's for anyone that maybe you don't have access or the liberty and freedom to talk on the phone because your partner is always on you, like who you talking to,
Right. Or
you
you have
know.
to use
But
like
maybe you
code.
just need a text, and
Yeah.
it's late at night, and you feel like everyone's asleep, and you just need someone to talk to, even if it's a stranger. You know, like this is a great way. Like I'm just so happy that you shared that because I was not even aware of it. So
And
imagine how
there's
many women are not aware, how many people are not aware of this.
there's a lot of them. Um, I'm let's see. I mean, there's our relationships. There's also like what's it called? Let's see. I'm looking through my subreddits to maybe suggest some. Um, I follow a lot. There's our self improvement. There's our self help. There's um, there's one RWGTOW. That's a woman subreddit where a lot of women talk about the issues that we're talking about, and I think you would find great inspiration from that one.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I am so like the thing I do on my downtime is I like finding new platforms where women can connect and talk about certain things. Like this is like I'm a person that I like to talk out my opinion. So it's like, or sometimes I just feel like I need to talk about something, but I feel like I can't approach a friend with this without being judged or told how wrong I am.
Mm.
So yeah, I am a person that enjoys finding people I can connect with. So I feel like this is a perfect outlet, you know, for women to, if they can't really be on the phone, if they're shy to talk to a friend, like this is for you.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely. We all need a safe place in whatever situation we're in
Yes.
until we can develop it within ourselves and it emanates outside of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So in closing of our podcast today,
Oh my God, there was like so many other bullet points we haven't even reached.
oh my goodness, have we? Okay, let's go through all of them, even if we're here for a while more. Okay.
We'll we'll power through it.
We'll power through it. All right, I'll let you take lead. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I didn't even realize there was like another section to this.
Um, well, I mean, I really just kind of like wanted to breach upon coping methods and powerful tools that you can use that I've learned from these books. I think I'll just pick one of the most powerful books that I came across, um, which is Inner Bonding by Margaret Paul, PhD. This is more of a psychological approach to it, but it's very practical to understand. It's very simple to read, and it basically, I don't know if you've ever heard of like inner child work. Have you heard of it
I
before?
have heard of it. I
Okay.
have. And I'm
Okay.
looking into it too because one thing I was told is like you still have the inner child within you.
Right.
And in order for you to be completely healed, you need to heal your inner child.
Right. And this really helped me understand the pattern that led me into the really bad relationships that I got into. So basically, like you have your adult self, which is the logical thinking side, and then your child self, which is the emotional side. When we, like, for example, I grew up not being able to really speak how I felt without feeling scared because I was like yelled at or I was ignored for how I felt. I wasn't able to like really express who I was. And that allowed me not to really know who I was. I was only able to think like an adult and understand things like an adult. But when it came to me trying to understand my feelings, it was like, what? you know? So like I had to really sit there and ask my inner child like, well, how do you feel in this situation? And when the pain comes up, you have to be able to sit with it and be there for your inner child. Like you have to be there for your inner child compared to the person who wasn't there for your inner child. So you're reparenting yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what this book kind of taught me how to do. And I felt like it really helped me understand more about any childhood trauma I had and correcting behavior. Because I mean, when I was married and in that relationship, it really taught me like commitment. It really taught me like what a relationship means, what I should be doing, how to compromise, how to communicate. But I still had the inner child. I still had the false beliefs that I wasn't worth it, that I don't know myself, and those are things that I needed to work on.
Yeah.
And I felt like how she approached it and did that was great. And it come she also does she also did I don't know how to explain it. She had sample sessions that she had with clients from all different like aspects, like a guy was cheating on his wife and how he approached it with his inner child because his mom would treat him in a seductive manner. So he only learned how to take his value from how he looked. So if women were appreciating how he looked, he would cheat on his wife because she wouldn't have sex with him because she felt like she was giving too much of herself. And
Mm-hmm.
she didn't want to have sex and she felt like or she was just giving, giving, giving and she felt empty, like and he was the narcissistic side and she was the caretaking side. That balance, it was like shifted. And so she goes into great explanation about things, situations like that, and how to approach that with yourself and hopefully your partner or whoever you're having problems with. um, and then to another book I read, and this is a famous researcher and author now. Her name is Brene Brown. I think a lot of people have heard of her already. But she talks about shame, and she talks about it in a manner where we really suppress ourselves. And it's been a while since I read it because I understand it feelings wise now, but like if I try to bring it up in my head, I can't really. But she's really great on how to handle shame and how to validate ourselves and not feel shameful, and again, speak for ourselves. Um, and then I think let's see. I'm just reading over my notes. When you start doing things for yourself, what you need to do, like when you start like some people get into meditation and they're like, oh my god, this is so boring, or like my mind is too busy, and it's very uncomfortable at first. Like when you start practicing like these self-love things or self-awareness or mindfulness, it will be unnatural at first because you've never heard yourself. You've never heard yourself like really tell yourself that things are wrong for you or you feel a certain way. So I think for sure, meditation is fantastic and it's great to like practice spacing your brain out, because I feel like if you have anxiety, like I have anxiety and things constantly like are in my head and like I don't really give myself the time to kind of just like breathe and be like, okay, everything's okay. Just it's empty. It's empty. And I don't need to think about anything. And that gives me the time to replenish all this energy I'm putting out into my anxiety. Um, and did we talk about boundaries?
You know what? No, we didn't talk about boundaries, and I'm glad that we're talking about it now.
Okay, so I mean, boundaries are I'm sure like it's personal to everyone, really.
I think boundaries is something that we all kind of have to see. Like, what is a boundary for me that I need to personally set?
Right.
Like for me, my boundary was like I am a caregiver. I am a caretaker. Like I tend to be very motherly. And my past experiences past year is like I give my all in friendships and it's not reciprocated,
Mhm.
and not just in friendships, but relationships.
Mhm.
So that's something I had to learn. Like, okay, I need to put a boundary, I need to voice out and be very strict on how I am setting my boundaries. And for everyone is different. And my question to you is like, what was one boundary you started setting when you realized that you needed to set boundaries?
Well, there's a lot. I think the first boundary I actually set was for myself. I think a lot of people kind of skip over that we can set boundaries for ourselves. Like if I know that I have a controlling behavior, then I need to put a boundary as in let me space myself out from the situation and give me some time to think about this before I explode or do something I really, don't shouldn't do, you know, that is unnecessary and would make it worse. So I mean, I I for sure think like the first boundary I placed was with myself, and then when I learned, because I'm always hard on myself, so I always test things out myself before I do it to other people, and then when I learned, that I sorry, I'm still in the state of mind of like taking accountability, so I'm trying to think of so I was sort of like seeing this guy ish. Like not I'm not looking for a relationship, very clear about that. That was like what I said. Right. And then he started catching feelings. And then I started catching feelings because we're human. But I'm like, I have feelings for you and I cannot date you. That's the thing. Settled it fair and square. And then for like a split second of the day, then his whole attitude changed and he became super like mean. And I do not like people who shit talk. I'm sorry. I know it's great, but like I just can't handle it myself because it's one of the things that I struggled with in my life, trauma wise. I was just around a lot of people who would basically insult me or treat me very low. And so when he says something where I felt like I was low, I put my boundary and I was like, why would you say that? I really don't want to deal with this today. Goodbye. I kind of like, I don't have to wait around and see if you're going to keep saying these things to me when when I accept it the first time. I'm not going to accept it the first time. And then so that was me exercising my boundaries. Like I said, like if you feel that knot in your stomach where you're uncomfortable, you have completely the right, to place your boundaries and be like, no, this is not good for me. This does not put me in a safe place. This does not allow my brain to heal, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. I'm glad that you actually like stopped me and told me there was so much more because I didn't really see that bottom section. But yeah, like that is true. Boundaries are a very important thing. Is there anything else you feel it's crucial that we talk about? Like we can go into it if you feel that, or do
I
you
think
feel, are you welcome to coming back on sometime in February so we can further discuss and go deeper?
if you want me to, sure.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I really enjoy this. It's really fun.
Yeah, I enjoy these little podcasts because I love the preparation of it, talking to you and talking to the guests before they come on,
Yeah.
because it allows me to better understand your perspective in life.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that we were able to take the time today. And I feel like we deserve a part two of this because there's a lot we can talk about. And there's a
Yeah.
lot to be said regarding this issue.
Yeah.
I am going to put back the domestic abuse hotline. And before we end for today, I do want to say, like, it is important, us as women, that we stand up and voice out and talk about these because, like I said earlier, if we don't do it, no one else will.
Mhm.
By that, like, I made like a little video with Maya Angelou we end this, I want to ask you, do you feel that through your experience that you are now able to help others overcome their experience?
I feel like I've learned what I needed to enough to be able to to be there for someone and be present.
With that said, what is the one thing that you would tell a woman right now if she that she may need to hear that you wish somebody told you when you were going through it?
You're not alone. And yes, it's okay to cry. And yes, it's okay to take that walk in the park. And yes, it's okay to take some space for yourself. And yes, it's okay to shut the door. Like, it's okay. It's okay to do what you need to do to pass this day.
That's beautiful. I really appreciate you for taking the time today. I know it's your birthday. So thank
Okay.
you. Like, I feel like birthdays are a time of rebirth,
Yeah,
and I feel like you've been reborn into your true identity,
thank you.
because I know it's been a struggle. I know it's been hard for you, um, with what you have experienced in life.
We're coming
And
out strong.
yes, and brave, very brave,
Yes.
because
Yes. Oh,
not many
yeah.
people have that in them to talk about what they've experienced, what they went through.
Yeah.
So thank you. And um, I am so proud of you, dude. You have no idea. I remember the first time we met and you started opening up and telling me a little bit of what you went through. I was just like, wow. Like
Yeah.
you wowed me. I was like, you're a, you're a warrior because not many women can walk away or outgrow a situation,
Yeah.
and you did. And I'm proud of you. And I'm so happy you're here with me today and you're helping me build up something that I feel is going to help other women.
Hmm.
So thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you. Thank you for giving me a voice. Like, it's so crazy being able to contrast with a person who knew me before and all the work I've done now. And it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, and that's why I say I'm proud of you. I've had a lot of friends who have experienced domestic abuse,
Yeah.
and I've always been that friend that I stand up for them. I'll stand up and be like to the dude, like, what?
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
you can do that to me?
Right.
You got something else coming. But it's not even about that. It's just like I believe that if you can't, I will. If you can't speak up because you're afraid, I will speak up for you, and my goal is to have all women with that same mindset
Yeah.
that, hey, you're down here because somebody's putting you down there. Hold up. Let me get you up and let me see who's doing this. Hey,
Right.
what you're doing is not right. We're not going to stand for it.
Right.
We stand against domestic violence. We do. Like, there's no excuse. If you had a traumatic childhood and use that as an excuse, then you need help.
Yeah, it's true. It's really true.
You
Yeah.
just need help. You need help to overcome it so that you can be a better human, a better person, a better partner,
Yeah.
and you can stop hurting the person that loves you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And yourself, hurting yourself.
exactly. And it's like again, I want to be vocal that this podcast is meant for us to have a voice. It's meant for us to feel safe, to be able to talk about things that a lot of people just kind of go like, well, they blame the women. Why are you still in there? And it's like, okay, yeah, we have a choice to walk away, but what you don't understand is it's hard to accept that we need to walk away or accept that we have that choice
Hmm.
because we're so afraid.
Hmm.
So thank you for voicing and talking about this subject.
Yeah.
And I am definitely going to have you come back. I think you should come every month.
We'll
Once a
talk
month,
about.
I want you to come back.
We should
And
definitely have like a break discussion because it got super intense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. Like,
Yeah.
I am so looking forward to working with you in regards to this subject and bringing more awareness to it. I love the fact that you read a lot of books in regards to healing and overcoming these obstacles.
Yeah.
I feel like our next podcast should be dedicated on what you can do, on what you've learned we can do,
Hmm.
and also with um, your personal update. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
personal updates are, I feel personal updates for others is a motivation for others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true,
Like,
actually.
hey, you guys, I just learned I can do a cartwheel. Like, oh, you can do a I can do a cartwheel too. Like, really,
I
like,
can
got people doing
roll.
cartwheels now. But that's pretty much an example of how it works. Like, once one person talks about it, tells another friend, that friend's like, hey, there's hope.
Yeah.
Don't lose faith. Don't lose hope in yourself. Don't give up your power. Like, you have that inner power. Reclaim it
Right.
because that's very important.
And it grows. It grows.
And
Don't think that it's just this small right now. When you go through it all, it'll become even bigger than you imagined.
hmm yes,
Yep.
yes, yes. And then okay, so how I was saying like standing up against all that hunk of junk,
Hmm.
the stuff that happens. I have a video that I made like a week ago, and it's pretty much in regards to women standing up and reclaiming their power and their voice. And this video, it's a very simple video. Hold on. I need to pause it before it starts going. Um, and I'm going to close our podcast with this. I hope it reminds us and all women that if you're feeling like you don't have a voice, that you do. You just need to reclaim it, and that you're not alone. There's an army of women who will stand up for you. And now it's time for you to stand up for yourself as well.
Hmm.
And I hope you guys liked the video. Again, this was Nora, and today's
You
guest was
made this?
Tatiana Santana. Yeah, I did. I was like, I tend to like when I'm like at home and like I'll be watching TV, killing time. I'll be on my phone and I'll be doing research of stuff that I feel is important.
That's cool.
So it's like there was a time where I was doing research with all the protests for Vanessa. Um,
Julian.
yes, everything that happened with her, um, when everything was happening in Mexico with the Ni Una Más movement, is like women were being murdered, raped, and just women are being massacred,
Yeah.
and to this day, not just that, but like going back in history when women didn't even have the right to vote, and women stood up and being like, hey, we give you life, we get to vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
The my body, my choice movement, like that's a powerful statement, like
Yeah.
hey, it is my body, it is my choice, like you cannot strip me of my freedom.
Hmm.
It's like beyond your belief or your reason, I strongly believe you cannot remove somebody's freedom of choice.
Yeah.
It is a very inhumane thing to think that you have that power to tell someone what they should or shouldn't do with their body.
Hmm.
I respect people who stand firmly with their beliefs,
Right.
especially when it comes to their body, because what I go through within my body, nobody else in the world will experience it the way I experience it, because this is my body.
Hmm.
I'm the one trapped in here.
Hmm.
I'm the one in this body, in this vessel. Everyone has their own vessel. We are all responsible for our own vessels. So it's like I respect that movement and just overall everything that women have been standing up for and against. I feel it's important that we voice it out and that we make it public and just known, you know? And I strongly believe, like, we are more powerful when we stand together rather when we start going against each other.
Hmm.
You know, we are so powerful that only women can give birth. You know, it's like, have you ever seen those videos where men go on those machines and they try to experience and they're already dying with Volt 1?
Wait, BuzzFeed?
Is it BuzzFeed? I don't know.
Those
It's
like
like,
Try Guys, they wore like a pregnancy thing, and
yes,
then they,
there's a bunch of videos, you know,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like, to me, it's like, look, the first vault, first level, that's just day one on your period.
Oh my God.
You have no idea.
Woo!
Hey, it's hard. It's hard being a girl. We go
Oh,
through a lot.
Nora, you know what you should do?
Mm.
Your first merchandise item should be a menstrual cup.
Oh, menstrual cup?
Yeah, you ever heard of them?
Those little cups?
Yeah.
You know what? I've never seen one in real life. I think we should have a podcast where we talk about the menstrual cup.
Let's try it out because I've never tried it. Would you be down for reviewing menstrual cups?
You know what? We are definitely gonna have to have you back and we're gonna talk about stuff like this
Okay.
because it's like I'm down.
Yeah, it's exploding right now, and I'm like, I really want to get one because you save money on like, toiletries.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Like you say money, like the dollar bills, like money saved?
Exactly.
What? All
This
right.
shit's expensive.
It is. We are definitely going to have a subject talking about all of this because why are we being taxed for being women and having this need? You know,
I know. What the heck?
this is some bullshit. But yeah, so yeah, back to the video. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And it's been an honor to have you as a guest, Tati.
Thank you.
I am so happy that you agreed to be my guest. And I'm so happy that you've confirmed. Everyone that watches this is a witness. You already said yes. You're coming back on.
Where's my contract?
The internet. The video. But yeah, I will definitely give you a call. We will connect and we will keep making this happen. At least every like once a month or every so often. I
Yeah.
would love for you to come back on and maybe even being a co-host for another guest.
That would be fun.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so too.
I love questions. I think you can tell.
Yes. I think every time we talk, we can go hours and hours and hours talking.
Yeah.
Like our conversations start here and then they'll end up in a deeper level.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
whoa, we just grew a little here.
Well,
But yeah, thank
we
you
have the
so much,
space to do
Tati.
it. You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I just want to say again, happy birthday.
Oh my gosh, I'm
And
old.
I hope this year is filled with a lot of wonderful things for you and that
Money.
things become better and better for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Alrighty, Tati. Have a great rest of your birthday. And
Mwah, thank
I'm going to play the
you.
video now, you
Oh,
guys.
yes. Yes. Let's watch the video, guys.
Let's watch it. Hold on. Let me see. All right. All right. Let's roll. You may write me down in history. I'm going to start it from the beginning, you guys, because I kind of messed up.
Oh,
It started playing from like where I didn't want it to. Okay. There it is. Okay.
I love that beginning.
You may write me down in history. I just love this song, by the way. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust. All right. Does my sassy name upset you? Why are you decent with the Okay, so that was the video. And with that video, I hope you guys liked it and that it was of something that you guys could enjoy and be a part of in the future. The reason why I started using images of protesting is because, well, that is one form of using our voice, standing up against anything that makes us feel like we need to voice it out. So I hope you guys did enjoy it and that you guys got the message and that you guys tune in and stay connected with us via Instagram and Facebook because there's a lot of great things that are coming and that I'm working with along with other really strong, powerful women who I say powerful because they have reclaimed their power and they are working and taking action to seeing the world a better place. So I hope you all have a good night. Again, happy birthday, Tatiana. And I bid you all a good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.